Usually the approach we think of in what we call quilts or quilting or fiber work have a function. They provide comfort, or they're on display. They're blankets or quilts to make us warm, or things to hang on the wall, right? That sort of kind of function. And Elizabeth does, there are many works that the BMA shown and at the 8 sites will indeed, at first glance, people will have that connection to a function of the work. But just as often, her work, when you look at it, there is no identifiable function at all. And really, the purposes are twofold. One is healing. So many of the works were made for private use by Elizabeth, by Joyce, by friends, by family, right? They weren't for display. They were either in her home or given to people who really needed something to heal or as a healing agent. And so these were works that were also termed as prayers. So they were prayers that you would have, and you would place these on, if you had a stomach ache, you put in your stomach. And you had arthritis, you would put it on your shoulder to feel better. And they were filled with rocks, especially because rocks have this healing purpose in an African American culture. And in many cultures, we know rocks serve lots of symbolic and signifiers. And so there would be always rocks in them, but there would also be lots of other beads and sequins and different fabrics that were there. And they were very small. You would just put them in your lap, like a pillow almost. So they really had that purpose of healing. And then the other kinds of work that she would do, which you're referring to, are family diaries. So if you go into the BMA, especially one of the first things you will see is a piece called Grandfather's Cabin. And what it is the story of her grandfather who was enslaved in Chester, South Carolina. It is the story of him and his family and the cabin and the stars above it and the snake underneath the cabin and the family throughout the plantation are all in there. They're all sort of illustrated within this piece. When you look at it, there's no way you could sleep under it. It's very large. It's what we call sort of the origin story of her life there. And so that's what we would say is a family diary. And so there are many works like that. Actually are the story of her relationship with her daughter Joyce. So they're all different kinds of ways of these acting as storytelling.